Well, hello and welcome to Thrive Thursday for Thursday, July 8th, 2021. We've been in July for a week now. Let's see, 1 plus 7 is 8. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to be talking about mathematics here in a little bit. So that's kind of funny that came in my brain. But anyway, we're going to be talking about starting from zero today. And many times, we start from zero. Oh, well, sometimes we always start from zero because that's where we're at, right? But many times we'll start from zero a second or third time, sometimes a new project. Today we talk about maybe it should be the same project, go back to zero, but talk about starting from zero and how to choose what to work on. Which is really going to be an interesting one. It's a pretty long one. It's an interview, so it'll take a little bit. So you might want to, if you're on the podcast, you probably want to grab the written part of it at some point and take a look at it. But it does get long, but it's very, very interesting. So good job today. So let me back out the banner here real quick so we can hide that, and I'm going to make it full screen for you, and then I'm going to take the little hide thing here away from there, and we're going to talk about, again, starting from zero, how to choose what to work on. And here we go, the 3 ideas. Again, we have 3 ideas, 2 quotes, and 1 question to consider every week for you. I get these from James Clear of Atomic Habits and review them and forward them to you if we think that they're relevant for you. All right, well, let's look at the 3 ideas for this week. One is starting from zero can be a gift. If you don't have much to begin with, you don't have much to lose. You can be bold when you aren't trying to protect something. And that happens quite often in a project. We lose our boldness because we're trying to protect something. And a lot of times what we're trying to protect is maybe our pride, maybe our ego. Sometimes we just need to take 3 deeps or take 3 steps back, go back to base camp or something and start over again. But starting from zero, it can truly be a gift because you got nothing to lose. You can just go out there and you can try and just do whatever you need to do because, again, you don't have anything to lose. So nothing wrong with going back to zero, and there's certainly nothing wrong with being at zero for your first time and getting out there. But just be bold and make things happen. All right, the second one is, in many cases, the outcome you want will continue to elude you even if you try harder. But it may be possible if you try differently. Can your current choices carry you to your desired future? If not, something has to change. You can't get there from here. You have to get on a different trajectory. And I know we looked back in the day. Dad used to tell me all the time, "Son, I don't think you can get there from here." And I'm like, "What do you mean, Dad? I'm here. I can get there." Well, what that means, sometimes you just got to backtrack. You've gotten too far into the forest. You've gotten too far. There's too many trees. Whatever it is, you just can't see. Your goal, you can't see the destiny, you can't see anything. You just got to get out of there, get back in a clearing, get your bearings again, get your compass out, which is getting your goals, get your affirmations, get back in it, and just realize that you got to try something maybe differently, because we all know the definition of insanity, and that's doing the same thing the same way and trying to get a different result. Sometimes you can try how hard as you want to, it's not going to make any difference. What you need to do is try differently. And again, what gets in our way is ego. So got to get that out of your system and just say, look, doggone it, it's just not going to work this way. I had an error in judgment. Now I've learned, so I've learned something here. So, and that's the biggest part of failing is learning. And so let's try something differently. But you gotta every week you gotta just in our reviews and our WAMs and everything else, our weekly accountability meetings, you have to look at that question of, can your current choices carry you to your desired future? And if they're not, then you got to change. And that's all about habit change and getting things rolling for yourself. All right, number 3. You don't need a better computer to become a writer, and you don't need a better guitar to become a musician. You don't need a better camera to become a photographer. What you need is to get to work. And that truly is the bottom line. We sit around and we look at all the different technologies that we need. I remember back in the old cold con days. Well, man, I'd be doing a lot better if I had this headset or I had that headset and I could just hit this and that and the other. And then, of course, well, I'd be better if I had that program with an auto dial for me, and then I could just go. Well, the bottom line is just get in there and use what you got and get going. Just get to work. I mean, if you got to dial, the numbers and talk to people, then dial the numbers and get to people. I mean, until you can, if you want those neat systems, don't go bankrupt trying to get all your technology right. Get out there and just get to work until it happens. I know a lot of people might be looking at this like me and in the golf game, and I play with an old set of pings, and I got a relatively new driver and a new 3 hybrid, but yeah, I get a little frustrated at my game, and a lot of folks are like, "Dude, why don't you just go get some new clubs?" I mean, and we were joking the other day, and I said, "Yeah, I'll probably get to heaven," and God will say, "Well, you had a great life." And I said, "Yeah, but I wish I could have got my golf game better," and God will respond to me and say, "Well, I put all those computer engineers and all those people on those golf club projects for you down there and had all this great technology, and you never took advantage of it. You never bought any new clubs." So it's like, okay, I understand. So in that instance, I think probably maybe buy a new set might make some sense, might make my game more enjoyable. But the bottom line is I can still play golf. I can go out and have fun. I can get out and get some exercise and get some camaraderie and bond with some folks. So I just need to get to work, right? So get the driving range and make those clubs work better for me. But get in there, whatever it is you got to do. Don't blame it on your tech. Don't blame it on what you've got. Just get out there and get to work and make it happen for yourself. Kind of a no excuse section there. All right, well, let's look at a couple of quotes. One is from economist John Kenneth Galbraith on the challenge of being open-minded, and this is from Economics, Peace and Laughter. He was a Canadian American economist, best known for his trilogy back in the 50s and 60s of the American Capitalism, followed up with the Affluent Society, and then he wrote a book called The New Industrial State. And he was actually in the administrations, worked with the administrations of several Democratic presidents, FDR, I think Wilson, maybe or Kennedy, and Johnson for sure. And actually, I think he was the ambassador for India at one point. But he writes, faced with the choice between changing one's mind and proving that there is no need to do so, almost everyone gets busy on the proof. And you'll think back on your life and maybe some folks around you, and you'll see that is really a valid point. We would so much rather spend time and effort trying to prove that we're right and to admit that we're wrong and change our mind and do something else. So it goes back to this philosophy up here of getting in here, try differently, right? Just doggone, don't spend all your time and money and effort trying to prove that you're right. I know this will work, doggone, I know this will work, I know this will work. Well, no, it come on now. How many times have you tried that? Learn from your mistakes and move forward. So don't spend so much time working on trying to prove that you're right. Just admit that maybe there is something that's not so right about what you're doing, and change your mind and go a different direction. All right, computer scientist Leonard Adleman on intellectual courage and choosing the right problem to work on. Now, some of you may not know this name if you're not in the computer science field, but if you are, then you know who Leonard Adleman is. He is the A in the RSA encryption algorithm, so he was really big into cryptography. Also was probably the father of DNA computing, as we'll get down here in the section here. Yeah, good stuff here. The interviewer says, they say the most creative and challenging part of research is finding the right question to ask. Do you agree with that? And Adleman replies, I wouldn't characterize it as the most challenging thing, but it's of critical importance. Sometimes it's not hard to find the right question. For example, the mathematics literature is full of very important unanswered questions. In this case, the real issue is, has that question's time come? Have we reached a point where developments in the appropriate area of science give us some chance of breaking the problem? For example, I worked on a famous centuries-old math problem called Fermat's last theorem. I was not strong enough to solve it, but I find some solace in the fact that my intuition that its time had come was right. The problem was finally solved 2 years ago by Andrew Wiles of Princeton. It was one of the major events in the history of mathematics. Now, the other side is to generate new questions, and that's a funny process. The way I seek to generate new questions is to start to look at whole new fields like biology, immunology, or physics. And since I come from a different field, mathematics, I bring an unusual point of view that sometimes allows me to generate questions different from the classical questions in those areas, like the question of DNA computing. Now, for the young scientist, this question of choosing the right question is to spend your valuable, limited intellectual resources on is critical. I often sit for months and do no productive work that anybody can see because I don't feel I have a good enough question to work on. Rather than take on some lesser question, I would prefer to read a mystery novel. And the point is, sometimes it's important to lie fallow for a time, waiting for the right question to appear, rather than to engage in uninspiring work and miss the important opportunity when it comes. And that's so true. Sometimes we can get so busy doing the mundane in our life that we miss the opportunity to do something important when it comes, right? Yeah, we just miss it because we're too busy just doing mundane stuff. He says, I will tell my students and junior faculty that they are better off following their inspiration and their hearts in what research they do, that they should always try to take on the most interesting and important problems, that they should not waste their time on little problems just to make another line on a vitae. My philosophy is that it's important in a curious way for scientists to be courageous. Not physically courageous, but courageous in an intellectual way. I believe that by working on extremely hard problems, by being courageous, you may succeed. But even if you fail gloriously. And you will have learned immense amounts. You will have extended the envelope of what you can do. And as a byproduct of failing on a great problem, I have always found that I could solve some lesser but still interesting problems which still fill your vitae. So really, really important stuff here because he talks about, again, the whole point of this is, finding the right thing to work on. And his basis is what question can I solve? And in your life, maybe it's what role can I fill, right? And I love it down here where he talks about failing gloriously because you're out there trying something extremely hard. So go for it. If you fail, you're going to fail gloriously. But really, right here it says you've learned immense amounts. You've extended the envelope of what you can do. So that goes into the category of being the best that you can be. And I'm reading John Wooden on leadership right now again. And one of the key points he has was his definition of success was that it's peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing that you made the effort to become the best of which you are capable. And that's really what he's talking about here. Just be the best that you're capable and don't spend your time on easy stuff. Easy Street, everybody can do Easy Street. If you want to really get something out there and make something of your life and really hit that destiny, then go after the hard questions and go after the things that are out there that you really have the gifts and talents to do. You just need to utilize those gifts and talents and get out there and make things happen in that particular area. All right, well, let's look at our question for the week, and that is, people will tell stories about you at your funeral. What chapter are you writing today? And that's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? You've all been to these, receptions and things after funerals and things, and all the food's there, and people sitting around drinking and eating and telling stories about you and about folks and they're going to be doing the same thing about you. So you want to be sure that you got a good story, right? You don't want to talk about the time that you got sent to the slammer for something, all the great things that you've done. So think about your destiny and think about your character and those types of things. And And what chapter are you writing that today that will be something that you really want people to remember you by? And this is a kind of a slant on the old eulogy theory of what are you going to have on your tombstone type thing, or what your epitaph going to be. But people are going to talk about you after you're dead. So what do you want them to say, right? What chapter you're writing today? Maybe morbid, but hey, we're all going to be there. So if it gives you any motivation to get rolling today, then Lord, make it happen. All right. Well, that's it for today. Again, starting from zero, how to choose what to work on is what we're going to be thinking about for the next few days. And I want you to, if you need to get back and look at that one, go back and grab the written word and kind of read through it. But good stuff. Good stuff for Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow for Finish Strong Friday. Got a great one for you tomorrow at noon, so be back and see me for that, and we'll get you rolling on through the weekend. All right, well, have a great one. I hope you had a great week and keep it rolling, but got some things for you to think about today, and then